So Forest fans, how's it feel to be flying high in 9th place in the Premier League after 4 games when many had already written you off to be having a relegation struggle so far? Pretty good, right? And beating Chelsea 1-0 in the way that they did this weekend will only serve to kind of heighten why Forest are evolving into a team that's becoming very comfortable in the Premier League. And performances from players like Anthony Elanga will only serve to sort of strengthen how much of an established Premier League team they could become this season if they play their cards right. Now, obviously, Forest had to ride their luck somewhat against Chelsea to beat them 1-0. Nicholas Jackson probably could have and should have scored for Chelsea at one point. Now, obviously, we've mentioned Elanga's performance and his goal, but you can't really talk about this performance in this game without mentioning Joe Worrell, who, despite the fact that he tragically lost his uncle so close to kick-off, but he insisted on playing and produced an absolutely inspirational performance. And it was one of a few players really that can stand up and take some credit really for Forest getting an important 3 points here against Chelsea. I thought Scott McKenna was outstanding in this game, really kept Chelsea at bay. Chelsea were trying to find an opening, but McKenna held so firm, as probably the standout performer on the day arguably. Tayo Awoniyi again proving his worth to Nottingham Forest, and he's one of the form strikers, isn't he, of the Premier League at the moment. But the word handful gets used a lot for a player of his physicality. But there's no other way of describing it, is there? It's so difficult to defend against. And defenders try their best to kind of contain him. But at the minute, the form he's in and the confidence he's got, that's proving very difficult, isn't it? As a focal point for Forest attack, he's proving really effective so far. So credit goes to Awoniyi again for having another great performance against another fantastic Premier League team in Chelsea. Only recently having played against United equally as effectively. I think tactically Forest have proven to be quite resolute as well at the back. The 3 central defenders employed proving to be really difficult wall to bypass for teams, aren't they, as well? McKenna, Worrell and Bolly were again immense in this game. Frustrated the likes of Raheem Sterling quite a lot. Ola Aina as well, who made that amazing last-ditch recovery to stop Sterling from scoring. All proving their worth. And when you see the defence doing so well, but also the forwards really contributing too and creating chances and bullying defences, really bodes well. Obviously, Forest have lost Brennan Johnson in this transfer window. One of their own, we're absolutely gutted with that. But I think the future seems kind of a bit brighter after a result like this, clearly. And to see players responding in his absence must give fans some confidence that they can be okay without him. Yes, he was such an integral part of Forest's attack for the last 2-3 seasons, I would say. But look at what they did here and look at how much of a threat they posed. I think Forest fans have got reason to be optimistic, I really do. It'll be a big miss, Brennan Johnson, clearly. The dimension he adds to the attack is difficult to replace, expensive to replace as well, and Forest can't do that. But I think in a player like Elanga, that really gives hope that that position can be filled, that hole in the team can be effectively plugged, and who knows, maybe even enhanced, because what Elanga brings to this team is a little bit different to the way Johnson operated. And we saw flashes of it at Manchester United. I think he's one of the few players that seem to actually care in a United shirt in some of the darkest days under Ralph Rangnick. So he's a really good, solid, strong character to have in the team and in the dressing room, first of all. But he's a Sweden international. You know, he's a skillful player. And I can see Nottingham Forest relying on him to sort of not just replace Brennan Johnson, really, but to share the burden of goals, which at the moment is focused on Awoniyi pretty much, isn't it? So to see Elanga on the score sheet will definitely fill Forest with lots of optimism. And one thing about this game is people will look at Chelsea losing this, but I don't think that's the case. I think you need to look at it as Nottingham Forest winning this game. They beat Chelsea. This was 100% on merit. And yes, they rode their luck at times, but in a game like this, that was always going to be the case. It was fairly back and forth, wasn't it? Chelsea created a lot of chances. Forest contained them very, very well. So huge credit to Steve Cooper for the way he's becoming very streetwise at this level as a manager. He's containing teams like Chelsea very frustratingly, but very effectively, to give a foundation and a base for these attackers to really do what they're becoming really well known for, and that is playing really slick, progressive, counter-attacking football. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please do hit a like on the video if you can, just helps the algorithm get to more Nottingham Forest supporters especially. I know there's a few of you already who are watching this, but a subscription to the channel is free. Hit that button now. Help the channel to grow. If we can get to that 1,000 followers really soon, then the only way's up.